It's the Daily Doug.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. It is the middle of the week, and on this Wednesday, my friends, I am going back to the Dire Straits because we haven't listened to the Dire Straits in a hot second here on the channel, and I am happy that you are with me. Previously on the channel, I've done the Sultans of Swing, Telegraph Road, and Brothers in Arms, and I loved all of them. They're excellent songs, and the musicianship of this band is laudable, right? So Brothers in Arms was the last one that I did, and that was in November of last year. So it is way past time for us to get back to some music from Dire Straits. And Tunnel of Love was by far the most fervently suggested of the Dire Straits fans, and quite frankly, friends, I don't think that I know this song. I don't think that I've heard of this song until y'all put it forth for me to look at. And Megan didn't know it either, but in my my read-in, when I saw that this song was included in the movie An Officer and a Gentleman, and Megan goes, I think I might have remembered that one. So she hasn't listened yet either. But I'm looking forward to seeing what makes this one tick. It was originally released on their third album called Making Movies in October of 1980. It was also released as a single from that album, and it also appears on many live and greatest hits collections. The original album version is a little over 8 minutes long. The single release of it is 5 minutes. It's actually interesting. I read that the single release of it is half the song on the first side and the rest of it on the other side. It doesn't even have a B-side, y'all. They got to fit the entire song on both sides of the single. But that first side was also played as a single release, I think, on radio. But I'm not going to do either of those, those versions, because I have found a live version of this song that is clocking in at 16 minutes, and that makes me interested and eager to hear it. This is going to be from Wembley in London, dating from 1985, and as I have been told, y'all, this is a favorite, not only for the song, but for the guitar solo that closes out the song. And I've already heard a couple of outro guitar solos from Mark Knopfler that are just sublime. So if this is another one like that, then I am really happy to be here. And this band is well known for giving exceptional live shows that live up to and sometimes exceed the quality of their studio offerings. So I am not shying away from listening to these guys and watching them doing their thing live. Back in 1985. We've got Mark Knopfler on lead guitar and lead vocals, and he is also the songwriter, except for an added credit that goes to Rodgers and Hammerstein because they use, apparently, a quote from Carousel by Rodgers and Hammerstein. I think it's the Carousel Waltz, and that's included in the introduction. I'm not sure if they're going to do it in this live version or not, but that's the way that it was listed for the original release. The musicians on stage with Mark in this performance are Jack Sony on guitar, John Ilsley on the bass, Alan Clark and Guy Fletcher are on the keyboards, Terry Williams is on the drums, and Chris White is playing saxophone. So let's take a look at Dire Straits playing Tunnel of Love live in 1985. Here we go. Okay. 3, 4. That's not a waltz. You know, I don't remember the Carousel Waltz very well from Rodgers and Hammerstein. I don't know if this is a takeoff on that or if they're just doing something completely different. Sounds cool. Nice. Down to minor 5. They're in D minor. Down to 4. Flat 6. Flat 7. They're on their way up. Nice. That little hitch right before the downbeat is a great little lick. loving it so far. Sounds like something different now. If that was the intro, now we're into something different. Come on, crowd. Crowd's a little behind. Now they're channeling Iron Maiden. Down to flat 7, down to flat 6, up to flat 7, 1. It works. Flat 6 and flat 7 are alternate predominant and dominant chords, right? Works just fine. I love these concert films because we get to see how they interact with their instrument and how they play, especially when they give us these up-close looks.
Song about being in love, a song about being in a band.
Song about being in love.
It's a place in Newcastle where I come from called the Spanish City. I used to go there when I was a kid and listen to rock and roll music, amongst other things.
Spanish City, out on the coast, right? So he's from Newcastle, and the Spanish City was along the shore in Whitley Bay. And that's our scene. And it makes sense that they'd start with the carousel.
There was a place called the Town Moor as well, you see.
Okay? Because they're setting up a fairgrounds and some rides and attractions sort of place for our story to take place.
This song is called A Tunnel of Love.
So is that, all of that's the intro, I guess. There it is. Yeah. So off we go to the fairgrounds in Whitley Bay. Then back into relative minor.
Crazy on the walls, but it's the life that I choose. Sing about the sixth spade, sing about the switchback.
There's a major 4 to minor 1.
I've been riding on a gold string. When the cars say screaming slam, then I don't know where I'll be tonight.
Yeah, major 4.
But I always tell you where my screaming ring of faces. See her standing in the light.
In a screaming ring of faces, I've seen her standing in the light. She had a ticket for the races. Just like me, she was a victim of the night. She said, let it rock, let it roll. Or I said, let it rock. There was an arrow through my heart and soul. He met a girl. So the chorus goes into the relative major. And then back to the minor key.
You're riding at your own risk. She said you are a stranger to me. She said, baby, I want to keep it like this.
Baby, let's keep it like this. Don't go so fast. Come on.
Do the twist, do the step right up and say,
There's the major 4. 6, 7. To the major 1, 4, 1. Right, so right into that major key. Because that flat 6 and flat 7 work as 4 and 5 to the major 1, but they can also be flat 6 and flat 7 to the minor as well. It works either way. Spanish City, so he's referring to the Spanish City.
So pretty to me now, it's like it always did. Oh, like Spanish City too,
When we were kids. So this has got to be like autobiographical. It's either happened to Mark or it's an amalgamation of several memories, right? I love it. Write what you know, y'all. She took off a silver locket. She said, "Remember me by this." So she's leaving. Put her hand in my pocket. Got a keepsake and a kiss. Poor Mark. There's that major four again. Occasionally they use it, and sometimes they don't. So there's the flat six. Back to the one, I think. So they're back in D minor now. Tunnel of Love, y'all. Great man. Always know it's Mark playing. As soon as you hear just a couple of notes, like, yep, that's Mark Knopfler playing guitar. It's a sign of a real artist. Has his own sound.
Carousels in a carnival arcade. I'll be searching everywhere. Steeplechasing palaces. Many street gallery where promises are made for the rock away, rock away.
Is that going to go to
rock away,
minor
rock
or
away.
major?
From Color Coats and Whitley Bay. Out to rock away. Girl, it looks so pretty to me. Like it always did.
Oh, and the chorus kind of a
Like the
breakdown.
Spanish City to me. When we were kids. Girl, it looked so pretty to me. Like it always did.
Always did.
Oh, like the Spanish City to me. When we were kids.
F major, down to D minor, to the 6th chord, to the 5, 4. So once he gets down to the 6th chord, down to 5, so that's a 4, and then 4 is going to resolve. Just right back into the major 1 chord. It's a lovely progression. And it's based in the pentatonic scale, so I'm guessing that's where he's going to reside in the solo. Got a few minutes left, right? So if this is an extended solo, he's pacing it. So he's starting this relatively sparse. And and relatively soft. After 4 times around or so, percussion picks up, and the band ups the intensity a little bit, and he's able to then start matching it. Those little quick little clean arpeggios. It's his signature, right? It's like he's playing lead and rhythm at the same time. Bending the strings, finger pick. How do you finger pick like that and put that much soul into the sound? And I gotta give props to the band too. They're right in the pocket. It's just sitting so effortless. Yeah, I'm with the bass player. I'm just kind of bopping along. Just right. Slowly getting more intense, right? So well paced. I need to get me one of those Mark Knopfler headbands. Put the Daily Doug on. It's for my workouts when I don't want to sweat. Now here he goes, right? This guy loves it. It's the same progression, y'all. And it can go on for days. Especially when they're playing like this. There he goes. Here's the 5. Awesome. There it is. Okay. That's the very end of their set. You know, whenever we come up and feature a song that the band specifically holds for the last song of the show, you know it's a special one, right? Think about that. The last song that you want to leave your fans with at the end of a lovely evening, and they picked that one. Wow, that was an unbelievable performance, friends. It makes me want to compare it to the studio version, but I was pretty pumped in listening to that one. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. So as I was reading in on this one, I was drawn to a quote from Mark Knopfler talking about part of his songwriting process on this particular song. And he says, it's the moment when you know that you're really onto something. He says that there's a certain part of the song that I call the breakdown. I think that was that bridge, right? And when I got there, I could feel the drums, the piano, all the things that I wanted the instruments to do. And when you get to that state, there's a strange sense of one thing following the other, of elements falling into place quite naturally. And I read that and I went, yes, boy, that's a good feeling. I have experienced that feeling a few times when you're writing and you get to a spot and it's like, oh, I should go here. Ooh, that's good. I should go here next. I like that too. The melody should go here. Yes, and it's just writing itself, and you could feel the counter melody and the way that the progression's going to work and all of the stuff. And it's like, yes, why isn't it like this all the time? It's a transcendent experience, y'all, and it doesn't happen very often, at least not in my experience. But I was drawn to him as a songwriter when just the elation, like, yep, this is going to be a good one. I know it because it's just naturally flowing out of me, and I don't question anything. I just let it come. And boy, what a cool thing. This band was also, when I was reading in, I realized that they were pioneers in the business of making music videos. Queen was doing that a bit, back in the 70s, but right here, like at the beginning of the 80s, this album this is from is called Making Movies. And so VHS tapes and VHS machines were making their way into homes in the early 80s. And MTV's not around yet, right? But they released a VHS companion with the album that includes some high-end production videos for this song and a few others. And so by the time that MTV comes around in a few years, Money for Nothing and these guys are well equipped to make a name in the new musical medium that they've already been experimenting with for a few years. So a wonderful band with a wonderful legacy, and it's been too long since we listened to any music by them, and I hope that I can get back to them before the end of this year and listen to some more music from Dire Straits. But that is all for today, friends. I thank you for being with me, and we will see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.